Wow. We did it, God. Something I thought I never would have started. We started and I completed the number you told me to do. Felt like the Lord told me to do 10 episodes. After the 10th episode, we'll reflect on how it went, what we could do better, and where God is taking me next. And this is the 10th episode. Wow, praise God. Praise God, praise God, praise God. So for the 10th episode, I thought I was just going to do, a little, to be honest, I thought I was going to do a little generic recap of like, oh, the other episodes that I did, blah, 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 blah. But I don't believe the Lord called me to do that. I think he said, Janelle, although it's your last episode, you still going to teach a message. So today's topic is know when to grow and know when to go. I'm sure you've heard before that the worst place to be is outside the will of God. And that is so true. The worst place to be is outside the will of God in any situation. If that friendship isn't God's will for you, why are you there? If that job isn't God's will for you, why are you there? If that relationship isn't God's will for you, why are you there? And the hardest pill to swallow is, if your current lifestyle isn't God's will for you, why are you there? I know it may seem scary leaving a certain situation or space, but sometimes you just gotta go, because not becoming who God called you to be would mean forfeiting everything he has for that version of you. And the only person standing in the way of you and that version of you is you. I was talking to my cousin the other day, and she said in her life she had to fight so many battles. And once she overcame those battles, she had to face her final opponent. And her final opponent was herself. How many of us can relate to that? Our final opponent being ourselves. The battle to overcome self is one that takes a lot of wisdom. Wisdom to know when to grow and wisdom to know when to go. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." And that is the wisdom you need to overcome yourself. Godly wisdom that allows you to look at yourself in the first place and admit something is amiss. Because if you are all right with being conformed to this world, there's no need for a renewal of your mind and no need to test the opportunity of a better life. But if you are tired of being conformed to the same old thinking and the same old patterns that have kept you in a state of succumbing instead of becoming, it's time to renew your mind. And this is not a prosperity gospel assuring you that, oh yeah, if you change the way you think, you'll obtain riches from all over. No. But I am assuring you that if you are not conformed but transformed by the renewal of your mind, you will look at all the things God has given you with way more value than you ever looked at them before. And the things that aren't from him, you'll start to no longer have an appetite for. Like me. I recently had to remove myself from a group of friends from my group chat because it contained a lot of gossip. And you know us women, I'm not going to lie, sometimes even myself, we love gossip. But as I continue to develop my relationship with the Lord, I'm losing my appetite for gossip, even if it's in a form that is acceptable to the world. And you may wonder, well, what form of gossip is acceptable to the world? And all I have to say is 2 words: social media. Social media has made it so easy and acceptable to watch somebody's post, share it, and talk about them, whether good or bad. And although it's acceptable by the world, God is showing me, Janelle, you just have to refrain from it altogether. So since my ministry is tied to social media, I need to know when to log off and when to not engage in certain conversations that I used to engage in when I was conformed to this world. That is me knowing when to grow. And me completely leaving the group chat is me knowing when to go, because it no longer served me well. Although I still love my friends, sometimes you just got to know when to go. And I want to ask you, what is no longer serving you? Or what do you no longer have an appetite for that you are forcing yourself to stomach? Know when to grow and know when to go. The things of this world is temporary, so why be bound by them? We as people have the opportunity to do so much and become so much in this life, and oftentimes we allow our programmed mind to hinder our growth. As a kid, one of the best things I was taught was to think outside of the box and allow myself room for other possibilities. But honestly, I think somewhere along the road, I forgot these principles as an adult, thinking what I see is what it is or what it should be. And if the world is doing this, then I should be doing this. Or if the world says this is acceptable, then I should accept it. And that's not right. God says test it. Don't just go with the flow. Test it and see what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect, not what is common. Transform your mind and renew your thinking. When you transform, it means complete change in appearance or character. The old must go. When you renew, you update what once was. You grow. Know when to grow, know when to go, and sometimes you gotta know when to do both. And when you go, bow out gracefully and with love, not thinking of yourself higher than others or condemning others for not growing with you, because everything will move in God's time and not our own. He manages the seasons. All we have to do is allow ourselves to be still and to be planted. And sometimes you have to go in order to grow. When a seed is planted, it goes away for a while. It is unseen. But although it is unseen, it is still growing until one day it blooms and you see why it had to go to grow. Allow yourself space to go in order to grow. And that is what I am about to do with this podcast. This is the 10th episode, praise God, and I have to allow myself space to go in order to grow, to spend time with the Lord, to recap on things that I can improve on, Him to show me a whole new setup of how I should do things, just for Him to grow me. And allow God to do that in your life with whatever you have going on. If something is not serving you anymore, go. If you think you can improve on something, grow. And if you think you need to go to your quiet place for a little while for you to pop out better, know when to go to grow. It has been a pleasure doing this podcast. I am so thankful for everybody who listened. This is only the beginning, but we all have to start somewhere. We all have to be still and be planted. Lord, thank you for planting me. Thank you for planting everybody who is listening, dear Lord. I only ask now, Lord, that you bring the rain, but you also bring the sun, so that we may grow into who you called us to be. Dear Lord, be with us through it all. Guide us on our journey, dear God. And may we make you proud. This is episode 10 of the Say It With Love podcast. It was kind of short and sweet, but I'll leave you with this message. Know when to grow and know when to go. I'll see you guys on season 2 of the Say It With Love podcast, if it is in your will, dear Lord. Love you guys. Bye.